Part 3, the nature of the game, understanding female dynamics. Chapter 8, order versus chaos. You want to know why you are exhausted? I'll tell you why. You are trying to build a house of cards inside a wind tunnel. You are a creature with logic. You are a man. You deal in straight lines, cause and effect, and the laws of physics. If the car makes a noise, you check the engine. If the bill is due, you pay it. You seek order. Order is your natural state. It is where you find peace. A woman, she is the wind tunnel. She is a creature of chaos, and I don't mean that as an insult. So stop clutching your pearls. I mean it as a biological description of her energy. She is the ocean, beautiful, vast, life-giving, and capable of smashing your little boat against the rocks just because the tide changed. She deals in curves, emotions, and the shifting sands of how I feel right now. The fundamental error you make, the error that is turning your hair gray and killing your testosterone, is that you keep expecting her to be a man. You walk into the room with your blueprints and your logic, expecting her to look at them and say, yes, that makes sense. She doesn't care if it makes sense. She cares how it feels. You are trying to impose order on chaos by arguing with it. You are screaming at a hurricane for being wet. You are standing on the beach yelling at the waves. Stop crashing. It's illogical. The waves don't care. The waves are just doing what waves do. This chapter is about stopping the madness. It is about realizing that you cannot fix her chaos, nor should you try to destroy it. Your job is not to become chaotic to match her. Your job is to be the container. You are the banks of the river. She is the water. Without the banks, the water is a destructive flood. Without the water, the banks are just a dry ditch. You must become the logical anchor. You must learn to navigate the storm without getting wet. And most importantly, you must learn that arguing logic against the motion is like trying to use algebra to explain a flavor. It is a waste of time, and it makes you look stupid. 8.1, the man as the logical anchor in the storm. Let's go back to the ship analogy because it is the only one that penetrates your thick skull. You are the captain. The captain's job is to steer the ship from point A to point B. The ocean, the woman, is the medium you travel through. Sometimes the ocean is calm and glassy and you think, man, I'm a great sailor. Then out of nowhere, the sky turns black, the waves swell to 40 feet, and the ship starts tossing like a toy. What does a good captain do? Does he run around the deck screaming, why are there waves? I hate waves. This is unfair. Does he go down to the passengers and ask, what do you think we should do about the wind? No, he grips the wheel, he checks his compass, he stays calm. He represents order in the midst of chaos. If the captain panics, the crew mutinies and the passengers jump overboard. In your relationship, you are constantly abdicating your position as the logical anchor. A woman will test you. She will create a storm just to see if the ship holds together. She will throw a fit about something insignificant, the way you chew, the tone of your voice, the fact that you breathe too loud, just to see if you will crumble. If you react emotionally, if you start yelling back, defending yourself, or apologizing for existing, you have failed the test. You have shown her that her chaos is stronger than your order. You have shown her that the ship is made of paper. And do you know what a woman feels when she realizes her man is weaker than her emotion? Terror. She feels unsafe. And she can destabilize you with a pouty lip or a raised voice. How the hell are you going to protect her from the real world? How are you going to handle an intruder or a job loss or a crisis if you can't even handle a bad mood? You must be the thermostat, not the thermometer. A thermometer reacts. It just reflects the temperature of the room. If she's hot, angry, you get hot. If she's cold, distanted, you get cold. You are a slave to her environment. A thermostat sets the temperature. You decide it is going to be 72 degrees and sunny in my head today. If she comes in at 100 degrees of fury, you do not rise the meter. You stay at 72. Eventually, because you are the stronger energy, she will cool down to match you, or she will leave the room. Either way, you remain stable. To be the logical anchor means you do not validate the chaos as reality. You validate it as weather. I see you are upset, you say. You acknowledge the storm, but you do not let the storm change your course. You do not change your principles, your plans, or your mood because it's raining in her head. When you hold your frame, when you remain logical, calm, and unshakable, she might hate you in a moment. She might scream that you are cold or unfeeling, but deep down in her reptilian brain, she is relieved. She thinks, thank God, the mountain didn't move. 8.2, navigating the chaos of female emotion without participating. Here is a skill you need to learn if you want to survive without an ulcer. The art of non-participation. Women treat emotion like a team sport. When they're feeling something intensely, they want you to feel it too. If they're anxious, they want you anxious. If they are miserable, they want company. It validates their experience. Your instinct, as a nice guy, is to participate. You think, if I join her in her misery, she will feel supported. Wrong. If you jump into the quicksand to save someone, you both sink. You have to stand on solid ground and draw a rope. You need to learn to watch the movie without being in the movie. Imagine she comes home and she is spiraling. My boss is an idiot and my mother called and I feel fat and you never listen to me. The participant, you right now, I do listen. And your boss isn't an idiot. He's just stressed. And you're not fat. Why are you yelling at me? Result, argument, tears, no sex, you sleep on the couch. The observer, the man you need to be. Internal monologue. Ah, the storm has arrived. Interesting. She seems very passionate today. I wonder what's for dinner. External action. You look at her. You don't flinch. You don't defend. You don't offer solutions yet. You just let the wave crash. You say, wow, that sounds frustrating. You are navigating the chaos by refusing to give it energy. Chaos feeds on reaction. If she screams and you scream back, you just fed the beast. You gave it a state. If she screams and you give her a calm blank stare, the beast starves. There's a concept I call the time machine regarding emotion. Women live in the now. In this exact second, if she feels you are an asshole, you have always been an asshole, and you will always be an asshole, and you will always be an asshole. There is no past, no future, just the overwhelming emotional present. You as the man must live in the timeline. You know that 20 minutes ago she was fine. You know that in an hour after she eats a sandwich and vents, she will probably be fine again. So why would you mortgage your happiness on a 20-minute storm? Navigate it by waiting it out. Go to your me zone. I'm going to go play video games. How can you play games when I'm upset? Because I'm not upset. You are. Let me know when you're done. This sounds callous. It sounds mean. But it is the only way to maintain your sanity. You cannot fix her feelings. Her feelings are not broken. They're just flowing. Let them flow past you. Do not try to be her therapist. You are not qualified and the pay is terrible. Zero pussy. Be her rock. A rock doesn't try to psychoanalyze the ocean. It just sits there and lets the water go around it. 8.3, the futility of arguing logic against emotion. This is the most important lesson in this book. If you learn nothing else, learn this. You cannot win an argument using logic against a person who is using emotion. It is like trying to pay for groceries with monopoly money. It is the wrong currency. You operate on a system where A plus B equals C. She operates on a system where A plus B was purple because Tuesday felt sad. Here is a typical scenario, her. You don't love me anymore. You, logic, what? I paid the mortgage, I took you to dinner yesterday, and I fixed your car. Of course I love you. Here is the evidence. You think you won. You presented facts. In the court of law, you would get a verdict in your favor. But in the court of relationships, you just lost. Because she wasn't stating a fact. She was stating a feeling. She feels unloved. Your list of chores doesn't change her feeling. It just invalidates it. Now she's mad that she feels unloved and that you think she's stupid for feeling it. Stop bringing spreadsheets to a knife fight. When a woman comes at you with emotion, you have two choices. Emotional jujitsu. You don't fight the logic. You address the emotion. You don't love me. Come here, you crazy woman. Grab her, kiss her, spin her around. You bypass the brain and go for the gut. You assert dominance and affection simultaneously. You're treated like a bratty child who needs a hug, not a peer who needs a debate. The wall of silence. If she is being abusive or nonsensical, you shut down logic. Why did you do that? You're just like your father. You always. Okay? What do you mean okay? I mean okay. You're talking, I'm listening, but I'm not arguing. You're talking, I'm listening, but I'm not arguing. You have to accept that her reality is fluid. She can reshape facts to fit her feelings. You yelled at me. I didn't yell. I spoke normally. You yelled in your tone. You cannot defeat this with logic. You cannot measure a tone with a ruler. The moment you start saying, but technically or actually, the facts are you have entered her frame. You are now playing her game, but you are playing it with your rules, which don't apply there. You have to be willing to be wrong in her reality to be right in yours. Okay, you feel I yelled. I disagree, but I'm going to go watch TV now. Do not seek her agreement. That is your weakness. You want her to say, "You are right, honey, I was being irrational." She will never say that, not while she is emotional. Maybe 3 days later, if you held your frame, she might come back and be sweet. That is her apology. Accept the behavior, ignore the words. Stop trying to explain yourself. Explaining is a submission signal. Leaders don't explain, they act. When you explain, you are asking for her permission to be right. You are saying, "Please validate my logic." Validation comes from within. You know you didn't yell. You know you paid the bills. You know you are a good man. Stand on that. If she can't see it because of the fog of her emotion, that is her visual impairment, not your problem. Beat a mountain. Let the storm rage. The storm eventually runs out of rain. The mountain stays forever.